Are you involved in a business or thinking about starting one? Do you know there may be environmental impacts from business activities? According to the Environmental Protection Act of 1996, businesses such as gas stations, rice mills, large-scale agriculture and poultry farms, large-scale mining and forestry operations, hotels, and resorts must be authorized. Persons proposing any of these activities need to submit an application for environmental authorization to the EPA.
Welcome, Guyana, to another episode of The Environment Matters. I am your moderator, Ladonna Kissoon. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. I do trust that you and your family are continuing to be safe. So as we reflect on the progress that the agency and Guyana is making, we will take this time to look at the strides that we have been making in the protection of our marine environment. And with that protection, the protection through the prevention of marine litter. So in studio to talk with me today is a representative from CYEN. So I'll let him go ahead and introduce himself to us, and then we will talk a little bit more on what marine litter is. So welcome to the show.
Hey, good day. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you so much for being here. All right, so before we even get into anything else, would you mind sharing with us who exactly you are before I give it away?
Sure, no problem. So my name is Lakeram Singh. I am the National Coordinator of the Caribbean Youth Environment Network in Guyana. I only became the National Coordinator a few weeks ago, so I'm still in the learning phase, sort of. So, so I actually joined CYN in 2018 as an ordinary member, and then I moved up being the Public Relations Officer and the Deputy Coordinator for 2 years, and now finally the National Coordinator. So I'm happy to be in the position. I'm looking forward to making some good strides with the organization.
First of all, congratulations, Lakeram.
Thank you.
And since I've known you, you've always played an integral part in CYEN. So congratulations, and I wish you all the best of luck on this new venture. Yes. It's not very new. It's just a little. It's new territories to some extent, but it's not. There you go. It's not very new to you. Yeah. All right. So marine litter. What we do know about marine litter is that it's persistent, definitely, and it's more so processed solid materials that are discarded, disposed, dumped, abandoned along our coastal environment. And we do know in Guyana that is a big issue. So with that being said, we know marine litter can consist of items. There's some very strange items too, from time to time. And these are items that are used by people and then deliberately just discarded into our seas or rivers along our beaches. And over time, it has really gained a lot of attention because of the effects that it has been having directly and indirectly, not just on our coastline, but with regards to our seas or oceans or rivers, our sewage system. It has been as a result of flooding within our cities and things like that. So marine litter in general has seen a wide spectrum through our environment, our economics, safety, health, and particularly cultural impacts, which is something that a lot of persons don't really pay attention to. So CYEN in general, the establishment of this organization, how exactly or what do you know of the establishment of CYEN over time?
Well, CYN would have started it is a regional body. It's a regional nonprofit volunteer-led organization, and it would have began in Barbados actually around 1993, and I think it actually became grounded in Guyana in 1996 around that time period, and from then to now we have really tried to rally the youths of the Caribbean around the area of environmental management and conservation. And this has actually gained us a good standing with certain global organizations, such as the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. We're actually an accredited, one of two accredited civil society organizations in the English-speaking Caribbean. So that by itself is a big deal. And the organization continues to make strides as a regional body in the areas of climate change, climate justice, as you were saying, with marine litter prevention, as well as things like land restoration. We know we're in the United Nations decade for ecosystem restoration. And so we're definitely trying to make a mark within this decade, this run up to 2030, to really get some traction regionally and more so nationally as we transition into a green economy. So at least as we try to transition, because it's not an easy task as it is on paper. No, it's not.
It's not an easy task, and that's one of the things that we try to remind people about. We bring an issue to the table, and people are expecting immediate action. Even for an NGO as yourself, it's good to hear you say that these things do take time and it's a process. So definitely.
Yes, and the time is not short by any means. These things, we have to start from a grassroots level, and these things cause us to have to interact with every level of the generation. From you, and people try to discount nursery aged students, but you could start right there. And it takes time for these things to really integrate themselves into the curriculum, into, as you were mentioning, culture, which is a big, and culture is not only the traditions and things that we do to enjoy ourselves. We're talking about culture like consumption, what items we consume, what brands we support, and that's all a culture by itself. So it takes time.
Most definitely, and I'm very happy that you spoke on that. Some people tend to think that, you don't get the impact that you want when you reach out to these schools, and think it is the small ones that actually push our agenda a lot of times. Kids have a tendency to hold on to information, and when they hold on to that information, especially if you keep saying to them, this is the right thing to do, this is the right thing to do, and they see the wrong thing happening, they're not afraid to call you out on it.
Exactly.
And I could appreciate that about kids. They're not afraid to call you out on it. I know just before we really got into our discussion off camera, one of the things we were talking about was how both of us got to this position, being so involved in the environment. So just share with our audience, and for younger persons that are listening, how did you get involved with CYEN, and how has your experience been so far?
Sure, no problem. So I got involved with CYEN after I graduated University of Guyana in 2017. One of my colleagues reached out to me actually, and she asked me, would you like to be a part of it? I was like, let me do some research into what is CYEN. Did some research, looked at the activities that they had going on regionally, nationally, and I said, maybe this I don't have. I'm not going to say I had a lot of free time at the time, and I still don't have a lot of free time, but I said, let me start giving back. It doesn't make sense to me to go through university, learn all of these things, and there's not an avenue there for me to impart knowledge to somebody else. So let me get involved, and that is what I did. I got in touch with them, became a member, and the experience has been really rewarding. And my current position professionally is in some part due to the work I've done on the CYEN. So I'm very grateful to the organization, and I'm here for the long run. Even when I stop being a youth, I will still be a part of the organization and help to forward its agenda throughout the Caribbean.
I'm always baffled by that. So some organizations that I'm a part of, especially for my church, they still try to refer to me as a youth, and then they get caught and they're like, our not so youthful. So I'm like, let's just pick one. But I like the fact that we can still consider ourselves youths because of the work that we do.
Exactly.
Particularly
being young is how you feel, not just how you look.
Exactly.
Or the age on your birth certificate.
Exactly. Age is just a number. It all depends on how you feel. Exactly. So we're gonna go with that, Lakeram. We're gonna go with that. So I'm very happy to know that, your time with CYN has not just been quite fulfilling as an individual with relation to the environment, but, as a professional individual too. So definitely note that, getting involved with NGOs that are youthful, quote unquote, it does build that self-confidence that you definitely need to go through life, especially in your professional background. So with all of that being said, I know earlier you did lament a little bit on some of the objectives that CYEN has, but with those objectives, your main objectives particularly, could you share with us how your objectives line up with some of the activities that you do?
So usually regionally we do a 5-year strategic plan, and within that plan we would highlight certain key areas, which through of course a lot of consultation as you look forward, what might be the issues of concern, and some of these are as I alluded to before, ecosystem restoration, pollution as a whole, whether it be solid waste, liquid, chemical, the sources of pollution and so on, and then of course biodiversity. Biodiversity is not only animals, all of the plants are biodiversity. Without these plants, we couldn't be where we were. The clots, the things that we wear, all come the
Even
origin
the
of our
rocks.
plants. Exactly.
I had this conversation the other day. Even the rocks, they play a part. They do.
They help with stabilization. It's the rocks that break down and give us soil over the thousands, billions of years.
There you go.
Right? And the organization locally, of course, we would have our yearly strategic planning as well. And it aligns very well. We try to make sure that we cover topics that not only as on a specific context, like say as the country, but in a grouping. We know that there is the small island developing states, and Guyana is a part of that category. And things that we face are, even though we're not an island, are very similar to what the islands face, because most of us live on the coastline. So we try to ensure that the activities that we plan are in line with not only the region's goal, but national as well. There's so many environmental initiatives that are out there that are birthed within your country that you need to get behind, and try to lend a helping hand, instead of everyone tries to run to the global initiatives for the recognition. But for you to see the change, you have to be there, and you're here every day in your country, so why not be part of the national strategies?
Exactly, because change starts with you.
Exactly. And it's a saying that we can say that it's cliche, but it still holds true. You have to start somewhere, or you won't see the change. Sitting behind the computer and lamenting about it on Facebook, social media, doesn't help it at all. You might call it constructive criticism, but that doesn't help the situation in itself, right? So
Most definitely. So there is a saying, be the change you want to see,
want to see in the world, yes.
So I think that's not as cliche as the other, but be the change that you want to see in the world. And I think a lot of people really need to stop and, have that sink in and figure out what it means to them.
Yes,
'Cause these things mean different things to everybody. So figure out what it means to you personally. So I know with your objectives, one of the main activities that CYN actually coordinates is the International Coastal Cleanup, and that is one of your signature activity. So would you share with our audience the most frequently found marine litter, and how more so marine litter affects Guyana in itself?
yes, well, in your introduction, I know you mentioned you were speaking about marine litter, and I wanted to make the point is that even though it's coastal cleanup, we find that so much of the pollution actually comes through the rivers and accumulates along the coastline, right? And that's something that we really need to take into consideration, because we have so many communities along our rivers. And we're not only talking about Burbs, Demerara, Esquibo. You have Mahaika, Myconia, Bari, Bursiri, all the rivers in Region 1 and so on that empty into larger rivers and indirectly into the ocean. And so river pollution actually brings a lot of litter into the saltwater environment, and then they're categorized as marine pollution, but they didn't originate
There,
necessarily
yeah.
originate along a marine environment, right? And when I started in 2018, the cleanups that were going on at the time is just that one time per year in September. And under our previous national coordinator, she would have implemented the quarterly cleanups. So from 2020, we started doing a cleanup every quarter in a different community, right? And that in itself, helps us to get a larger perspective as to the type of marine litter we are accumulating when we are recording in our instrument. And the main item of concern since 2018 to now, plastic bottles, the beverage bottles and the cups. We tend to associate them as one item, but when you take apart a cup and you discard, it becomes two separate items with two separate cause and effect situations, right? The cup is smaller. It can be ingested by almost any marine organism, and it has a lot of effects. We are seeing, though, an increase in glass bottles. Glass bottles in the marine environment, a lot of persons say, oh, that will break up. It does break up, but when it breaks up, it becomes sharper objects, right? And that in itself puts you at a risk when you visit the beach a second time.
Yeah.
And then it puts the organisms at risk. The same organisms that would ingest it, you would then consume. Think about that knock-on effect. You're ingesting the same organisms that's consuming the litter you improperly disposed of.
Most definitely. Right? And I want persons to really pay attention to that because, like you did say, plastic bottles are a big thing with regards to our findings or data collection during the International Coastal Cleanup. And those plastics, they don't break down and be gotten rid of.
Exactly.
They break down and they become microplastics, which are smaller plastics. And those smaller plastics are ingested by fishes. And then we ingest those fish. So the fish eat the plastic, we eat the fish, so we eat the plastic. And those plastics have toxins. So the toxins now get into our body. And it just becomes, a circle.
Yes, it becomes a circle of doom, you could call it, because these things are byproducts of oil, petroleum. That's what how we get plastics. And we see what happens when we burn petroleum. Now you're ingesting that byproduct of petroleum.
Yeah.
So just internalize what you're doing to your bodies.
Yeah.
So I hope that point of health and well-being resonates with people to help them change their disposal practices and their culture of consumption.
Right. So with International Coastal Cleanup, what exactly is International Coastal Cleanup? I know we were just having this conversation about it being, a signature name. So just share with us, what exactly is International Coastal Cleanup and what is the goal?
So the International Coastal Cleanup actually started close to about 50 years ago in Texas in the United States. And the objective was to remove as much marine litter as possible. At that time, it was just removing litter. But now it has evolved over the decades to be something where it serves as a repository of information that helps us to track and manage people's consumption. Not only what people consume, but the brands out there, the producers out there that are making materials that are not compatible with the environment, are not eco-friendly. And the goal is, a lot of persons tend to say, oh, you're just picking up people's trash. That is not the aim of the ICC. What sets the ICC apart from other cleanup activities is that fact that there is a data recording instrument and there is a repository for the information. The ICC, the Ocean Conservancy, which is the global NGO that manages the International Coastal Cleanup, only a few days ago released their 2021 report, which captures the countries that would have participated and their data. And it shows an increasing trend in the amount of trash that they pick up. However, there is some positives to be gotten from it. Is that there shows a decreasing trend for some particular items, such as styrofoam, which we know in Guyana is banned.
It's banned, yeah. And,
a lot of the information from this type of activity, which is where you record data, helps with the banning of these things. And I know the EPA has a very, what's it called, say no to single-use plastics, tagline, which is pretty good, and I think should be, activities like this should help to propel this initiative. So.
Yes, and we have, instead of the 3 R's, we have the 4 R's now, which is reuse, reduce, recycle, and refuse. So
Yes, that's a
yes,
good one.
we're we're going with that now. So you, as the customer or the consumer, has a right to refuse single-use plastics when you go out to restaurants, to supermarkets,
The drive-through.
to drive-throughs, to cafe, anywhere. You will have all rights to refuse the single-use plastics. All right, so we'll take a quick break and we will be right back to continue our conversation with Mr. Lakeram Singh from CYEN.
At the Environmental Protection Agency, we believe that the environment is everybody's business. We can start caring for our planet by becoming more environmentally friendly in our everyday actions. Here's what you can do: dispose of waste in a garbage bin, clean our drains, yards, and carpets regularly, take a reusable shopping bag to the market, support local butchers and farmers to reduce packaged waste, plant a kitchen garden, trees, and flowers, compost your organic waste, conserve water and electricity, carry a reusable water bottle. These little acts are good for your health and that of the environment. Remember, healthy people work better and achieve more, and together, small actions make a big difference. For further information on how you can help, please contact the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, Ganges Street, Sophia, or telephone us at 225-5467. You can also visit our website, epagana.org, or our Facebook and Instagram pages.
Miss Sonia, wait, I want to ask you something.
Oh gosh,
Morning, Miss Sonia.
Morning, Miss Cheryl. I'm late for work.
I noticed the other day y'all had a big campaign with them police officers, so shutting down them people barbecue, wedding, dance. Man, how y'all expect these people to make money and survive?
Oh, Miss Cheryl, that is far from the truth. The EPA and the Guyana Police Force are actually working together to ensure that persons who conduct certain businesses and activities are authorized. We've tried to allow them to adhere to the noise regulations.
Well, this gotta be a new law. What law is this?
These laws were always in place. It's now that we're getting all these complaints at the agency, we are trying to enforce them. The Environmental Protection Act has been in place since 1996, and it states that persons and businesses must apply for environmental authorization before operating a sound-making device.
Well, girl, I never know this thing is part of the law.
So if you're keeping a barbecue or an open-air function, like a wedding or a concert, especially in your community, right, and you're playing a music system, you have to apply for a short-term noise permit. And for persons that operate in a business and you got generators and stuff, you have to apply for a long-term permit. And that is applicable to bars and hotspots and clubs also.
Well, now that you explain it, I understand it. It's unfair to the elderly, sick people, and even them little children.
That is correct. According to the World Health Organization, loud noise can cause stress, sleep deprivation, and hearing impairment. And I'm sure you wouldn't want that.
Oh, now I understand. Thank you for explaining it, Miss Sonia.
For more information, you can contact the EPA at 225-5471 or visit our office at Ganges Street, North Sophia, Georgetown.
Do you have an environmental complaint? Then the Environmental Protection Agency wishes to advise that you can report an environmental complaint at the agency via one of the following. You can call our 24-hour hotline number at 225-5469, or you can drop us an email at complaints@epaguyana.org. Or you can message us on our Facebook page at EPA Guyana, or you can message us directly on Instagram at EPAGY. Please note, when submitting an environmental complaint, you would need to submit the following: name of complainant, that is the person who is making the complaint, the address of that person, a contact number, as well as the alleged polluter, a name for them, or a name of their business, their location, and the nature of the complaint. For further information, you can visit our agency's head office at Ganges Street, Sophia, or you can visit one of the regional offices to make your environmental complaint. You can visit our WIM office in the Quarantine or our Linden office in the Lynn Building, Mackenzie, Linden. Please note that all information collected from the public will be treated with the strictest confidence. However, complainants should be willing to attend court and testify should the matter require legal action.
Welcome back to The Environment Matters. I have been your moderator, Ladonna Kissoon, and chatting with me is Lakeram Singh from CYEN, and we have been talking about the prevention of marine litter and the upcoming ICC. So with the objective of international coastal cleanup, be it to, engage persons to not just remove the trash from along the coastlines or within the communities, but also to be able to record that information so that we're able to have a trend of what is within our waterways or other water bodies, and to identify sources of litter, and to push, like you said, or to propel that change in behavior or culture, and to raise awareness. But with all of that, how do communities see themselves benefiting from international coastal cleanup? I know along our Kingston seawall, and we have a number of groups that constantly go out there and they remove debris or trash along that end. But I know for certain communities, like we were talking about 63 Beach and Nova Beach, and even for Vredenhoek, because I do remember I think it's 2021 or 2020, there was a cleanup.
Late 2020, early 2020.
Yes, we did a cleanup in Vredenhoek. So how do communities see themselves benefiting from these activities?
Well, I think that part, we don't have data to support it right now, but the narrative is that if we get communities involved in the activities, they should be able, through awareness and education, of course, be able to see that there is a lot of economic benefits from having a clean environment, health benefits, and just having a simply aesthetic environment. To that itself has a lot of positive impacts on your mentality, your behavior, the outset that you go to every morning. With communities, like you mentioned, is 63 Beach. 63 Beach is just a common name for it, but the beach actually spans about 7 or 8 miles. It's a long stretch of land, and a lot of communities inhabit the area, and we're hoping that communities could see that this beach here has the potential to be a big tourism destination. Who will benefit more than you, who are living right there? The development that will come to the area because of its status as a tourism destination, entrepreneurial benefits. In Guyana that snacks and refreshments go like wildfire. So if you have a tourism destination bringing a lot of people, it gives you an opportunity to engage in that sort of activity.
Yes, definitely.
Right? A lot of small businesses could go up in those areas, and these are things that we're not capitalizing on. And you can't blame the larger authority for what is happening. That authority is not coming to your area and dumping garbage in that area. You are. You, as the community, you're the ones dumping garbage. And if I'm to single out 63 Beach as an area of concern, because as we were discussing earlier, this could be considered countryside area. And the countryside people usually say the town folks are dirty. But if we go there and you see the level of pollution, it's unbelievable. And again, and this has a lot to do with culture as well. And the authorities that manage the garbage, the pollution situation need to play a stronger role in this aspect. It's not just about going when the time suits you to tell persons how to dispose of their garbage. You need to let them understand in a way that connects with them, not for you to be an authoritarian about it.
Yeah.
Right? It's the law, sure, that you should not litter, but they should also know why it affects them. Right? And and culture coming more to like our norms and values and so on, and our traditions more so. There are a lot of religious groups that preach having a clean environment.
Yeah.
But then your activities should be clean as well. A lot of times I go to the 6th Street Beach and I see remnants of religious functions on the beach. That is not, I don't see in any whatever explanation which God is going to bless me because I dirty the environment. I don't see how that makes sense at all. Right? I'm leaving my aluminum foil there, flying about the place. Your religious instruments, whatever it is you use, is just flying about. Styrofoam, bouquets, wreaths for funerals and so on. You're left there on the beach. How does that honor the dead, honor the living, honor God? I don't understand the sense in it all, right? And if your Holy Scripture speaks about being a steward, and this is quoting from many scriptures, being a steward of the environment, how does that activity help with being a steward of the environment? There's a lot of hypocrisy in that regard, and they need to find common ground and really understand and really preach exactly and practice exactly what they preach, and that's something that really irks me when I go to that particular location, and that's something that we really need to change on the community level. And once the community start demanding certain things, they will see a change, but the community members themselves must be accepting of that change.
Of the responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the responsibility and role that they play with keeping that area, their area, particularly.
It's their area, exactly. I'm glad you mean it's not the area, it's their area. That's their backyard.
Yes, most definitely. And I know during, our cleanups, not just international coastal cleanups, but cleanups in general, some of the you find some really strange things out there. I remember one year we were doing the cleanup and we found an entire car seat, a baby car seat. And it was in a good condition.
I was
I'm
just going
like,
to mention
why?
that particular
The car seat, right? That was very shocking.
Yeah.
It's the car seat is in top shape condition, but the car seat is there. And we do a lot of time find pieces because of religious functions that happen along the coastline and other activities. Strangely, we find things like wash tubs and buckets and, some pretty strange things.
Yes, and in addition to the baby car seat, personal care equipment that I don't think I would use at the seawall or anything like that would be there. I will call some of the things on here, but these are personal hygiene equipment that should be used in your home, not where and not and again should not be dumped carelessly either.
Yes, anywhere, everywhere. Sometimes people just have a tendency to think that when we go out there, we just find bottles and caps and plastic bags and straws and forks and things
That's
like that.
what they see in the photos.
We do that. We can't exactly put certain things out there, for the general public to see. But, strangely, we do find some weird things during coastal cleanup. And again, this is your area, this is your backyard. So you should feel that sense of responsibility and that level of respect to ensure that you keep your area clean and debris free. So with ICC, and over the years, you did make mention that you've seen some changes, more so being reflected in reports. But has there been a behavioral change with regards to Guyanese at large, or the people residing here in Guyana? One of the things that aches me, and this is just personally me, when I do go to cleanups and I'm finished and I look around and I'm like, yes, we did a good job. But I now sit in my mind and I'm like, I give them by this afternoon.
Yeah, and it's sad that we have to think like that because we know of the type of people that we're dealing with. And, and back to your question, the reporting, yes, it suggests good some good things. Certain items are on the down low. The trend is decreasing. The use of these things, the production of these items also decreasing, but the culture of disposal, it's getting out of hand. It's still out of hand. We do have a larger population speaking out about it now these days for sure, and persons are making a lot more effort. And then we also have a lot of small businesses up now that are dealing with reusable items, more eco-friendly items, and so these things are good alternatives. But when it comes to the culture of disposing, that act of disposal alone, I don't know what else we should do. So
Just don't give up.
yeah, I mean,
Just don't give
we
up.
can't give up for sure, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure what else to do to let people understand that your culture of disposal is incorrect and it has a lot of long-lasting effects, and you may not feel the effect, but other unsuspecting, innocent persons would feel the effects of it. And that's something I don't know how much I could stress on it, but I know you would have done your part in stressing about it in your professional capacity. But that's I don't know. All we could do, as you said, is don't give up and keep harking on that particular issue over and over again till people get it.
Yeah, I'm all about don't give up. Just you keep doing what you're doing. Not just not expecting, a tap on your shoulder or a thank you or congratulations, but you do it because it sits right with you. Like I said, I attend as much cleanups as I possibly can when I can, and despite, like I said, it sits in my mind, I still go because I want to see things change, and I want to be that change. So I push the agenda. I push the agenda not only for myself and my family, but I also encourage you guys from time to time listening to me to do it, to go out, to be a part of these groups, to bring awareness about the effects of not just marine litter, but litter in general, to talk about it, to share with people how it affects you. And like I said, don't give up. We will see that change one day. That change will come through persistence,
Exactly.
through that dedication and commitment. So again, I say congratulations and good work to everybody that is staying committed to this effort of ensuring that we have a clean environment, so that we can all enjoy it. I'm really big on leaving something for generations to come.
Yes.
We need to have something here so that they can come and feel comfortable to say, oh, I've been a part of this.
Exactly.
I've enjoyed this. So we really just need to remember that. So stay committed, stay dedicated to the fight, right, of a litter-free environment. So with all of that being said, and I know you did make mention of smaller businesses getting involved in this agenda of pushing for a litter-free environment, how exactly is ICC supported and sustained from a financial position? Because cleanups do take a lot.
Yes.
It takes a lot coordinating.
A lot of coordination, a lot of logistics, a lot of materials. People tend to think you just show up, but you don't just show up. No, you must have a plan in place. Financially, we're very happy to have had financial contributions from the Ocean Conservancy, which is the global NGO that runs the ICC. We're very happy to have them on board at all times financially. The corporate community in Guyana, we do get donations from them for these activities as well. And a lot of it is simple effort and energy from our members, and of course collaboration with EPA for things like these, like marketing and so on, awareness of these activities. And that's simply put how we a lot of it is in kind donations from persons who also would like to be the change and see the change simultaneously. So kudos to them and all thanks to them for helping us to keep the ICC event alive. And not only the ICC, but having more cleanup activities and making the cleanup not just the cleanup, but as I indicated before, making it more of a system, a framework of tracking people's consumption and behavioral patterns when it comes to disposal of garbage.
Definitely. And I know with tracking or the data collection, there are specific card sheets where you record the bits and pieces that you collect, and then all of that is weighed, and then that total weight,
Yes.
the total weight, the number of bags that are collected, the number of people that actually come out for these coastal cleanups, all of that is important data that is now used and tallied on an international scale. So that is definitely something to note. With everything that you do, you have challenges, and I know you would have stressed a little bit on some of those challenges that CYEN face, but I want to know if it's possible for us to line up those challenges CYEN face with regards to that particular activity for coastal cleanup.
Sure. I think the challenge, really, number one, finances. Finances impact the scale of the activity, right, and the sustenance of the activity. As in, we could definitely not just have it more than just one day. You could have it for the whole month, dedicated to ICC. Finances, of course, that's number one on the list. Second, I believe the mobilization of people. In Georgetown at the seawall, it's not a problem. But as you get farther out into the rural communities, I don't want to say that they're not interested, but that's part of the situation. The other maybe has to do with their schedules. Maybe rural people have different schedules than town people, But the mobilization of people to come and be a part, and not just to clean up, but really understand why it's being done. That's a very big issue as well. I think for me, those are the only two challenges. Like really, because everything else you can make do it. You can see avenues where you can alleviate the issue, but those two, finances and mobilization of people to these activities is a big deal. As I said before, a lot of persons like to sit behind the computer and write and type and orate about it, but to get down on the ground to do the work, I don't do that. That's not for me.
Yeah, I definitely understand. All right. So before we wrap up our episode, what would you like to tell our audience, about what they can do to prevent litter, not just marine litter, but to prevent litter in general?
Yeah, well, littering in general, is pretty bad. I mean, you would have to be really low in the mental capacity to have to want to litter, and then tell yourself that was something good you just did. I don't understand that capacity, that mental capacity at all. It doesn't bode well for anyone to be a litter bug. There are receptacles, use them. People like to make that excuse, oh, there are no receptacles around. Keep it in your hand just 5 minutes longer, you'll find a receptacle. But you have a bag which you put it back into your bag. You dispose of it when you come to a receptacle. What's so hard about holding on to that same thing you just enjoyed food out of until you find a receptacle?
Yeah.
And as you said, not just marine litter. And as I indicated earlier, a lot of pollution comes through our rivers. A lot of persons think that because I have removed the litter from my eyesight, it has gone for good. You're just moving it from in front of you into another environment.
Yeah.
It's still there. It still comes back to you in some way or form, right? And people need to understand that. They need to understand that having a clean environment does not mean just having a clean yard.
Definitely.
The environment is an extended place. It is a transboundary place. There are no boundaries to pollution. Pollution travels through the air, through the waters, on land in various means, and it gets back to you somehow, right? So people need to understand that it's not a rocket science.
Yeah.
It's things that we've been told by our parents growing up. Do not litter. It's not just because they're telling you what you ought to what to do. Do not litter. It has a negative effect on you, your environment, your offspring, in every way possible. So just don't litter. I mean, I don't know how much more you can say.
You could actually, yeah.
Maybe I could try it in Spanish, French, and so on, but it's the same thing. Do not litter. We should all appreciate clean, and healthy environment. So that would be my message to everyone on that topic.
So there you go, folks. Just don't litter. It's as simple as that.
Yeah,
Don't litter. Don't litter. Don't be a litter bug. Like Lakeram said. All right, thank you so much, Lakeram, for joining us and discussing, International Coastal Cleanup, the effects of not just marine litter, but litter in general. And thank you for sharing the work that CYEN has been doing. So, would you like to tell us how exactly persons can get involved with CYEN if anybody is actually listening?
Yes, so we do have for International Coastal Cleanup on the 24th and the 25th.
Of September.
Of September 2022. The 24th of September, we'll be at the number 63 beach using the number 61 access road. And on the 25th, of course, we'll be at the Marriott beachfront extended to the Camp Street Seawall Bandstand area. And if you'd like to get involved, visit our Facebook page, Caribbean Youth Environment Network in Guyana. Also on Instagram using the same name. There are posts there with the link to registration. It's not necessary for you to register, but it helps us to plan. It helps us to plan the logistics for the event. But, show up, come comfortably dressed. The sun is blazing. As we say sometimes, the sun is sunning. Like we like to say, the mats is matsing.
The sun is sunning. That's
very
interesting.
nicely.
I've never heard of that one. The sun is sunning.
I started using it a few days ago. It kind of makes sense.
The sun is sunning.
Because there's no cool sun. It's always a hot sun. So yeah, we have 24th and 25th. Do come out in your numbers. Be part of the change that you would like to see. And maybe through those efforts, we can definitely reach large aspects of the population.
Definitely. And one of the things that we are really encouraging persons to do, not forcefully encouraging persons, but we're encouraging persons to walk with your own reusable bottle. A lot of times we have a cleanup, and then one garbage bag from that cleanup is the plastic bottles that we would have accumulated from the water consumption for that event. So we're kindly asking you, our volunteers that are going to come out on Saturday and Sunday at 63 Beach and at the Marriott beachfront to walk with your own water bottle. Your reusable water bottle, your environmentally friendly water bottle.
Yeah, we have a water dispenser there on site. So, more so why you should walk with your reusable bottle.
Yes. So there is water accessible. So walk with your bottle and let's avoid adding more plastic bottles to the environment. And on that note, I do hope that our conversation today really encourages you to sit back and pay attention to not only your consumption, but also your actions. Be the change that you want to see. And help us to prevent not only marine litter, but litter in general. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here on The Environment Matters. Remember, The Environment Matters will be rebroadcasted right here on NCN. For all the information on the dates and times, please visit our Facebook page or our page on Instagram. You can check out our website for additional information on the show and for additional information on the ICC that is coming up, or for even past reports on ICC. That information is readily available not just on EPA's pages, but also on CYEN platforms. For more information, you can give us a call at EPA in Ganges Street, Sophia, or at our regional offices in Wim, Quarantine, Berbice, or in Mackenzie, Linden. Again, I have been your moderator, Ladonna Kissoon. Until next time, Guyana, stay safe.
At the Environmental Protection Agency, we believe that the environment is everybody's business. We can start caring for our planet by becoming more environmentally friendly in our everyday actions. Here's what you can do. Dispose of waste in a garbage bin. Clean our drains, yards, and carpets regularly. Take a reusable shopping bag to the market. Support local butchers and farmers to reduce packaged waste. Plant a kitchen garden, trees, and flowers. Compost your organic waste. Conserve water and electricity. Carry a reusable water bottle. These little acts are good for your health and that of the environment. Remember, healthy people work better and achieve more, and together, small actions make a big difference. For further information on how you can help, please contact the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, Ganges Street, Sophia, or telephone us at 225-5467. You can also visit our website, epagana.org, or our Facebook and Instagram pages.
Attention all miners. Mining is important to Guyana's development, and so is our biodiversity. Practice smart mining. Use a retort, dispose of your waste properly, manage your tailings well, and reclaim mined out areas. Remember, improper mining is a threat to your health, biodiversity, and a hindrance to prosperity. A message from the Environmental Protection Agency and Ministry of Natural Resources with funding from JEF through the United Nations Development